Almost 5 years after the Series 4 Apple Watch was released, I still wear mine pretty much every day with almost no complaints. You can pick up a Series 4 Apple Watch on eBay now for about 60 quid, and for that kind of money I think you're getting yourself an absolute bargain. The Series 4 Apple Watch still looks great in 2023 and still performs and holds up really well. So in this video I'll give you a full overview of how the Series 4 Apple Watch holds up in 2023, and you can decide whether or not you want to go ahead and buy one, but personally I still love mine. Let's start off with the design. The Series 4 has a sleek and modern look with an edge-to-edge display and a range of customizable bands. Personally, I buy cheap bands off of Amazon, so there's definitely loads of opportunity to customize your Apple Watch without breaking the bank. Although newer models have come out, the Series 4 Apple Watch still holds its own in terms of style. I personally have got the 40mm variant, which is perfect for me as I do have smaller wrists. One thing to note is that the Series 4 Apple Watch doesn't have an always-on display. So if this is a feature that you really want, take a look at the Series 5 Apple Watch instead. Personally, it isn't something that bothers me because it only takes a really slight flick of the wrist for the display to turn on, and I think I'd end up just turning the always on display off. I've heard loads of reviewers talking about the newer Apple Watches saying that they always end up turning the always on display off because, well, they don't want to have a glowing wrist all the time. Moving on to performance and features. The Series 4 Apple Watch has loads of great features and still performs great in 2023. I never find it slow opening apps. I mean, it's a watch, so you're never really doing anything too demanding on it in the first place, so whatever it is that you do throughout this watch runs perfectly fine. This is essentially the oldest Apple Watch still being supported by the latest version of watchOS, and I made one of these videos last year and someone commented saying how the Series 4 Apple Watch was a bad buy because it won't be getting many more iterations of watchOS, and I'll be honest with you, if this watch stops getting updates today, it would still be just as useful as if it continued getting software support. I literally never noticed the difference between the different versions of watchOS, and it really wouldn't matter to me if this watch stopped getting software support. For me, I primarily use this as a fitness tracker, so when I'm at the gym, I'll track my workout and it gives you a detailed overview of your heart rate during the session and an estimated amount of calories that you've burned. And this is really useful information to track your exercise, although sometimes for me, I do find it a little bit anxiety provoking when I see my heart rate flying up close to my maximum heart rate when I'm at the gym. But in general, this is really useful information to have access to. And again, I'll often use this watch for running, so I can download music to this Apple Watch using Apple Music or Spotify, and then I'll use Nike Running Club to track my run, and it's a really good watch to take running so you don't have to carry a phone with you. And for a 60 quid fitness tracker, it really is fantastic, and the health data that you're going to get from it is going to be awesome. I mean, it's probably a better health tracker than many Fitbits. I've watched videos on YouTube of people comparing the Apple Watch heart rate sensor to like a medical grade heart rate sensor, and quite often the Apple Watch sensor is pretty much spot on and does a pretty good job. Other than using the Apple Watch as a fitness tracker, I'll also use the Maps app on it because I've got absolutely no sense of direction. So I'll use the Maps app on the Apple Watch, and it's really useful for sort of navigating London because you can get turn-by-turn directions on your wrist and you don't have to take your phone out of your pocket. But beyond that, this is pretty much all I use my Apple Watch for: fitness tracker, maps, and telling the time. Ultimately, this does pretty much do all of the same stuff that the newer Apple Watches do. Whilst it might be a little bit slower than a brand new watch, it's still plenty fast enough for me. I'm typically the type of person who wants the latest and greatest upgrade, so the fact that I've had this watch for so long and Apple haven't been able to tempt me into upgrading is a credit to just how good the Series 4 Apple Watch is. So moving on to battery life. Battery life on the Series 4 Apple Watch is its biggest downside. So for me, my Apple Watch is at 88% battery health. I pretty much wear my Series 4 Apple Watch 24/7, so I wear it during the day and overnight. My routine is to charge it to full before I go to sleep and then give it a 20-minute charge in the morning just to get it up to sort of 90-95% battery life, and that will last me through the day. If I don't go to the gym or track any exercise and use it for sort of the bare minimum, I can get through a solid 24 hours. However, at that 24-hour mark, it will be on sort of 10% battery. If I go to the gym, it will go from 100% battery at sort of 7:30 in the morning to 20 to 30% battery by the end of the day. And I typically only go to the gym for 1 hour. So if you're planning on exercising for 1, 2 or 3 hours, or if you're running a marathon or whatever, you're going to want to make sure that it's 100% charged. I would say if you're someone like me who's pretty average, you want to track a walk on the weekend and maybe an hour and a half at the gym, it's good. But if you want to be tracking more workout than that, then the battery probably won't be good enough for you. When buying one of these, you ideally want at least 90% battery health because they are disposable. I think Apple really, they talk about sustainability and how they care about the environment and all of that stuff, but a lot of the products that Apple makes are disposable because the batteries can't be replaced. There's going to be a point when the battery life on this Apple Watch is so bad that I'm just going to have to bin it. So you need to take that into consideration. When you buy one of these, make sure to get one with 90+% of battery health, and then I'm pretty confident that you'll get at least 1, maybe 2 years of use out of it before the battery becomes so bad that you can't use it at all. So to conclude, for 60 quid, I think that the Series 4 Apple Watch could be a fantastic buy for a lot of people. It does the basics of a fitness tracker really well. It's great for tracking your heart rate, tracking your sleep, tracking your running, your exercise, and all of that stuff. It does fantastically well. And you have got the benefit of watchOS, so you've got to fill your rings, it'll tell you to get up throughout the day and you can compete with friends, etc. So it's a really fun watch, and for 60 quid, it could be the perfect entry point into the smartwatches and getting yourself a little bit more active. So for me, I've only recently started wearing it a lot more, and it's definitely been very motivating, making me exercise a ton more. Whilst it may lack some of the latest and greatest features like the always on display or the blood oxygen monitoring, I feel like they're pretty gimmicky features. When it comes to the necessities, this does all of the necessities really well. So yeah, if you can find one for a good price, I would recommend going ahead and buying it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers.